Good morning, everyone. It's Lee Henson, President and Founder of Agile Dad, and it's time for today's episode of the Daily Stand Up. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Today, I wanted to talk to you about definition of done. Now, I know I've talked about this before, but today, someone came up to me in one of my classes and they said, Lee, they said, I appreciate your diligence with regard to definition of done, but I almost feel like it's a unicorn. It's something that's frequently talked about but never seen. So they asked me if I would please do a who, what, where, when, why, how on a definition of done. So here it is. So let's go down the list. So let's start with who. Who's responsible for making sure there is a definition of done, or is there someone that you can pin this down on and say, hey, it's your responsibility? In most organizations, the who is, the Scrum Master Agile Coach needs to make sure that it happens, but the definition of done needs to be something that the team, along with the product owner, get together and discuss. So I guess what I'm trying to say is the core Agile team needs to discuss the definition of done, why it's important, and how they're going to go about doing it. So that will cover the who. So next would be what. What is the definition of done? Well, for me, definition of done is the easiest way to describe it. I'm trying to think is probably that the team is going to assemble a definition of done based on the type of product or service that they're building, and that it's not something that's imposed by anyone on the outside. It's a self-imposed definition that matches the knowledge and experience they have with what the philosophy of belief is with the person who is asking for the work, like stakeholders. So I think and that's kind of a crappy definition. I think a better way to explain it, let's simplify it. It's a simple definition of shared understanding of what needs to be done, what activities are included in the workflow, and how we're going to measure value. I think that if you have that, you pretty much have a definition of done that's valuable and it's easily traceable. So that's what. So where is the next question? Next question: where can I find a definition of done? For most teams and organizations, this can be found in your team working agreement. That's where I most commonly say you should put it. If not, you should definitely have it documented somewhere, because keep in mind, this isn't a do it one time and be done with it. This is something that you'll do and you'll frequently go back and revisit, especially when you initially create it. It's going to be the pillar for getting things done. So you want to make sure that you know where it is. So we've covered who, we've covered what. So who, what, where, we covered that. So who, what, where, why, when, how. Okay, so why. So we're on why. So why should we have a definition of done? Why do we even need one? And I think this one is the one that goes without explanation. Why do we have it? Well, here we go. To have better transparency, so everyone knows exactly where we are and to make sure we're all on the same page. To have a more clear understanding of expectations, to help us meet commitments, and to assist with team growth so they can create an environment or an ecosystem where they feel psychological safety, radical candor is okay, and they can get things done and understand what done really means to them and the rest of the organization. So we got who, what, where, who, what, where, why. So let's do when. When do we create the definition of done? So the definition of done should be created upon inception of working together. So when a team begins working together and they understand what work's coming forth, that's when they should create their initial template for the definition of done. Now, the good news is, when you create this, you know that you're creating it with it going to, with the fact that it's going to change. It doesn't need to be something that's perfect or perfectly baked. It's something that you know you're going to go back and you're going to do updates for. So don't try to get it absolutely perfect and make it, totally clean, because if you do, you're going to wind up in a pit because, well, you're going to notice that as you start work and as work evolves, that the definition of done will evolve with it. Now, will it ever seal? Of course, at some point it will become a lot more stable and there'll be less changes to the definition of done. But I think at least initially you need to come in knowing that the definition of done is flexible and a little bit fungible. So we got who. We said it was the product owner, Scrum Master, product owner team with help with the Scrum Master. We got the what, we got the why, we got the where, we got the when. So who, what, where, when, why, how. That's what we're missing. Yes. So how? How do we plan the definition of done? How do we make it something that's effective? And I think that the question you should be asking is, how can what we're doing be done well? And if you're asking that, it's going to help you create your definition of done in that moment. Are there any dependencies that you see? Is everything looking good to you? Is there anything in this definition that you want to keep? And I think that you have to think of this as a high fidelity definition of done, where you could look at things and you could literally say, okay, these are the things that we need to have done now. These are the things that are coming next. These are things that are in the future. And it's going to help you understand how done can be applied to the system, product, or service that you're building. So for me, the who, what, where, when, why, and how isn't so difficult. It's just the problem is when no one has the who, what, where, when, why, how discussion that I just now had, the definition done does become a unicorn. It becomes something that no one ever takes the time to do because the truth is it does take a little bit of time, but it should be time boxed. And I feel like if you go in with confidence and you have some of these answers before you walk into the room, the odds of you being successful are dramatically increased. And it's going to help you really be able to deliver things more frequently, faster, at a lower cost. So I hope this was useful to you. I hope the definition of done is something that you wanted to learn about. If you have a topic you want to learn about, feel free to reach out to us, learn more at agiledad.com. We'd love to hear your topic. As always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.